I am Antonio Pedro, a geologist working for the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. In this module, I'll be discussing operational issues and in project development phases in a mining project. This includes geology, mineral exploration, mining operations, mineral processing, decommissioning, and rehabilitation of mining sites. Geology is the study of the composition, structure, physical properties, dynamics, and history of earth materials and processes that formed, moved, and changed them. Geology is important because it's through the knowledge of earth materials and the processes that have formed them that you'll be able to, for example, if you're interested in mining, in narrowing it down, the areas in which you'll be targeting your geological exploration projects. But it's also important for physical and land planning. For example, there are areas that are not amenable for constructions, like, for example, dolomite sites. A mining project would involve distinct phases, namely the exploration stage, the feasibility stage, construction and mine development stage, the mine decommissioning and closure stage, rehabilitation. In other jurisdictions, they call it the rehabilitation stage. The exploration stage can be subdivided into 4 stages: the reconnaissance, the exploration proper, and the mineral deposit and delineation stage. This is an effort to try and reduce your area of operation, to improve the targeting, for which you utilize different techniques with a view to arriving at that decision. At each stage, you'll be interrogating the extent to which the results that you have achieved would lead you to jumping to the next stage. And this you'll be considering, take into consideration geological information, as well as your target business model, essentially meeting your cutoff grade in terms of your ore deposit. All of those results are accumulated into a feasibility study. The feasibility study would make the transition between the mineral exploration stage and the mine construction stage. So you'll be asking whether the deposit that you have delineated will be able to be exploited economically, and what factors would inform that decision. The discovery rate in a mineral project, if you take into consideration its different phases, is 1 to 1,000. 1 in 1,000 mineral exploration projects come to fruition. Mining is a logistical operation. A typical mine site involves the construction of the mining itself, that is infrastructure that would enable ore deposits to be mined. And this, of course, depends on the type of mine. You have open cast or so-called surface mines or underground mines. And for each of them, the requirements will differ. An open cast mining would require opening a pit, and this pit could be a shallow one or a deep one. An underground mine requires creating the necessary infrastructure for you to be able to access ore deposits. It means you have to open up holes and build a shaft that would allow you to go to your mine site. So that is the mining stage. So once the ore is extracted, you need to process it. So you have to build a processing plant. Again, it depends on the type of ore you are talking of. If it's a coal deposit, essentially you are talking of a washing plant that would allow you to separate coal from the rest of the materials on the ground. If you are mining copper, then your processing plant will be a little bit more complex. You need to crush the ore, you need to build the necessary infrastructure, the plants to process that crushed material and separate copper from the rest of the material. And this includes creating chemical plants, utilizing different techniques with a view to make that separation. Some of the techniques involve utilizing bacteria, so the bioleaching techniques. So it depends, therefore, on the type of deposit that you are dealing with. The processing plants can be located in situ, that is, where mining is taking place, or they can be located in a different place, and then you'd have to transport ore from the mine site to the processing plant. This can be done through conveyor belts, or it can be also done through the use of trucks and other means. So the construction phase also requires establishing the necessary infrastructure to transport the ore within the mine site. That is, from the mining quarry or the ore deposit to the processing plant. You have to know that most mining operations are in remote areas, very far from the markets. So mining also includes building the necessary infrastructure to enable the transportation of your ore to the market. And sometimes this is a very complex logistical process, in the sense that you have to build railways and ports, some of them extending beyond thousands and thousands of kilometers, as it is the case in Pilbara in Western Australia. We have different types of mining operations, large, medium, and small scale, and that involves different operators. We have what we call the major companies. These are the global transnational companies that operate in several jurisdictions and in different types of minerals. We have also junior mining companies that essentially became a feature of the industry when the large mining companies started to outsource their services and they focus on their core business. So junior mining companies essentially focus on mineral exploration, but then some also started to get involved in mining, especially when we're dealing with easier mining sites. The last one will be artisanal small-scale mining, which will be, of course, part of our course modules and will be discussed later. Mine rehabilitation and closure is an important and indispensable phase in any mining operation. It has to be planned right from the beginning of the project. The mine rehabilitation and closure management plan address closure activities associated with 4 different scenarios: preparation and planning for closure during operations, rehabilitation measures during closure, rehabilitation measures during temporary suspension of operations, and rehabilitation measures during states of inactivity, activities, and also as well as activities in post-closure phase. A good mining company has to internalize mine closure in its business model. It has to have plans to address the environmental impacts that are associated with mining, and some of them can last well beyond mining. They also have to take into consideration social issues. Ghost mines are a typical feature of mining. How to address them in a manner that you create a viable community after mining is part of a very good mining closure plan. Typical mining district where the impacts of mining are visible, where well beyond mining, is, of course, Johannesburg. Several mine sites, like, for example, Gold Reef City in Johannesburg, have been transformed in touristic attractions. Others have simply been restored to their initial use. They are farms now. Others have been decommissioned for real estate purposes. So housing estates have been established in those areas. But unfortunately, there is also other mine sites that are impacting the environment negatively because of the acidity of former mines. And that is an issue. The legacy of old mines is a very important area of conversation in any mining project. Essentially, who will be responsible for old mines?